Tonight I have the distinct honor to introduce you to my friend Jimmy Regan. Born in Belfast, Northern Ireland, raised in Toronto, Canada, and refined in Bethany, West Virginia. Jimmy's career in the States began when he played for Bethany College. The story goes that he was on some recruiting trips or looking at schools, and he was on his way to visit others, stopped in Bethany, and never left. And I think if you know Bethany and have been there, I think it all comes down to Bubba's. And he got stuck in Bubba's, which is a local tavern there, and never got out. He worked with John Cunningham after graduation, and he was there for 3 years. And then only a script made in Hollywood. He was interviewing to be an assistant coach at Wheeling College, which is now Wheeling Jesuit University. And the coach quits in July, so they quickly hire him, and at 25 years old, he's the head coach at Wheeling College. That's crazy. And he was probably, would say he wasn't prepared, but in my mind, he was, because over the next 35 years, he has 500 wins in his college career as a head coach. That's both women and men. And speaking of the women, Carrie Plouffe-Hann is here, who scored 100 goals in her college career, so it wasn't too hard to win those games. All right? But he is now in the Bethany College Hall of Fame as a player and the Jesuit Hall of Fame as a coach, which is very special. So this is a trifecta, Jimmy. He helped start soccer in Wheeling in the mid-'80s with the YMCA director, Bill McEldowney, to form what is today the Wheeling Area Soccer Association, with hundreds of kids playing today in that group. My personal relationship with Jimmy started in 1987. If I can take you back there real quick, we'd just formed the Wheeling Soccer Club at that point. We had one team. The next year we had two, and then in 1989 we hired Jimmy as the director of coaching for the Wheeling Soccer Club, because it had exploded to a point where we needed guidance and all the parents had to get out of the way. And Nikki, this was where opportunity met the road, okay? We had kids that were ready and willing and much past our parent coaches, and we needed people who really knew what they were doing to come in and provide help for these kids. During this time, Wheeling Soccer Club would grow to 14 boys and girls teams, and he always coached the team, but his influence was more in recruiting, mentoring, and managing all the coaches for all these teams for over 20 years. Remember, there was no travel soccer in Wheeling 2 years before this, and now we have this tsunami of talent coming and tsunami of people, and Jimmy handled all that for us on a year-to-year. But at the end of the day, we're all defined by our successes. He had two paths that were very clear. One is his coaching tree, and the people who worked with him and the people who are part of Jimmy and everything he did are now leading their own programs, and they are numerous people out there in the Ohio Valley and beyond, including two of his sons, Sean, who's the head coach at Bethany College now, and Brandon, who's with us tonight, who is an assistant coach at Robert Morris University. So those two apples didn't fall far from the tree. The other path was the Wheeling players who were trained and influenced by his coaching, and they played at all levels, including professionally, the people he touched. At one point, the Wheeling Soccer Club had over 20 players playing somewhere in college programs, all at the same time, with 11 of them being Division I soccer players. As director of the WVSA soccer, which is high school in the Wheeling area, I watched Jimmy work with the coaches, put on clinics, one-on-one sessions, and constantly trying to build soccer at every level in the Wheeling area. He also contributed on the state level. For many years, he was a major part of the ODP soccer program, and evaluating players at tryouts as well as coaching teams year after year. What can you say about people who are willing to stay in the dorms at beautiful Rider University, right, Nick? And it's about 96 degrees in those rooms, all right? And dead of the summer, and just doing that for that many years should be enough to get anyone into the Hall of Fame. And if you haven't been into Rider University, I will pray for you tonight. Not to be overlooked at a time when very few fields were available in West Virginia, and especially in the Wheeling area, he was always willing to let his teams, programs, and associations use his facilities, which was an incredible gift. I used this quote when I was inducted in this hall 3 years ago, but it really summarizes what Jimmy's vision was at that time. Wendy Wasserstein, an American playwright, said, "Don't live down to expectations. Go out there and do something remarkable." And Jimmy did just that. He helped propel the sport of soccer in our community to amazing heights. Tonight's very special for him and his family, his wife Jill, Sean, Brandon, Kyle, and daughter Danielle. Congratulations to all you guys. Great friends for many years. It's a privilege to share this with you tonight.
I just want to say thank you for the West Virginia Soccer Association for this unique award, and it's been a privilege. And I'm obviously excited and humbled to be considered for this award. I'd like to also congratulate the other award winners on their accomplishments in this great sport that we love all together. It started a long, long time ago. Obviously, by some of the pictures up there, you can tell. In fact, I'm so old, I think when I knew Nikki, she only had one last name. And we've spent a lot of time together during her young coaching careers when I was coaching Wheeling Jesuit and she was at West Virginia Wesleyan. And you talk about passion. You had two people on the sidelines that had a lot of passion. So obviously I want to congratulate her for the tremendous job that she's done within the state and the level is where she has taken WVU women. I want to congratulate her on those accomplishments. My career obviously covers almost 35 years at Jesuit, but it's not about my college career that I want to talk to you about tonight. It's the youth soccer programs and the beginnings in West Virginia, and especially in Wheeling, where I found myself over 40 years ago. I came here, this country, in 1976 with an opportunity to play college soccer. And my mentor, John Cunningham, who's still around at Bethany, but was the Bethany soccer coach at that time, is actually one of the few that I've known that has actually won a national championship. And it all started with him and him bringing me to this wonderful state of West Virginia. It's been part of my passion. My family and I have lived here all of our lives, or most of their lives, not mine, but obviously they've been raised here. They're true West Virginia kids, and they grew up playing soccer, and that's how it all started. We talk about passion. Nikki mentioned it a lot. I got my passion for the game from my father, Sean Regan, who I just lost him there this past November. He was my mentor, and he developed to me the passion that I have today for the game, and also the desire to compete and to win, but also to give back. He was the type of person that gave back continuously in his lifetime, and I hope that I can pass that on, and I know that my kids will do the same as they grow older. I also received my Irish temper and sense of humor for him, as some of the referees in here can attest to that part many times over my career. But it goes back to Wheeling and how we started this. And this man standing right next to me who introduced me was really the one that had the vision. We got together, and my kids were all growing up. Obviously we're playing soccer, and my wife and I were involved. My wife was actually probably a better soccer coach at that age when they were all 5 or 6 years old, because she's a teacher. And if you've ever coached 5 and 6-year-olds, it's a little different. And so she was probably the better coach at that age than I ever was, because she was a teacher and knew how to handle kids. But again, we're involved as a family, and that's how it all started, like most of you. You have your kids, and you get involved, and you do with it, and you have a passion like myself for the game. And then that's how it began for all of us back in Wheeling. And Jay and I got together, and we needed to figure out what was the next step when the kids got from basically youth soccer and WVSA, or, into what we call now travel soccer. And with Jay's vision and a couple other people that were involved, we decided to start the Wheeling Soccer Club and move it to the next level, as we all say, as college coaches. We're very fortunate to be able to develop a club very quickly within the community, and some great support within the community of Wheeling itself, and of course at Wheeling College at that time. And the club, like Jay said, grew tremendously and very, very quickly. I'm also very proud of the coaching staff and the people that I've had play for me and now end up in the coaching world. I've been very fortunate to have at least a dozen former players out there in the coaching world and give them back to the game that we all love. Lastly, I was very fortunate to be a part of the West Virginia ODP program. I want to thank Mr. Laraba and Bobby Gray, another one of my mentors. Yeah, and Bobby is older than me slightly. But Bobby, thanks, and you and I, and Nikki, I think when you talk about longevity, I've been at Wheeling Jesuit 35 years. I think the three of us in the room are probably, Bobby was a longtime coach at AB and at Marshall, and Nikki's been at WVU for a long time. It's very rare nowadays. My two kids are in the business now, my son Brandon and my son Sean, and I just hope that they can stay in the business and be as fortunate as the three of us have been to give back to the game that we love. So again, I just want to say thank you for this honor. I'm pleased, I'm privileged to be part of it, and it wouldn't be possible, as most of you know, without the other person in my life, and that's my wife, Jill. She has been a huge support. We've raised our kids. They're all off on their own now. They're finally a house to ourselves, and now we're looking around at grandchildren, and it's going to start all over again. And I can't wait, because I love doing it. I love working with young kids, and I would look forward to doing it all over again. So once again, thank you, and good night.